I had a text from a 5th grade teacher. Miss Jennifer Withrow sent this to me, and I wanted to share it with you this morning, just in light of everything, the extra effort it took to be here today. She says, I just wanted to share a sweet moment that happened in my classroom this week. We're learning about the Renaissance, and we were learning about a play that was also about a tax collector. And if you guys were with us last summer, what was one of our Bible stories that we shared? Zacchaeus being a tax collector. There was an OpCamp student that spoke up and said, hey, that reminds me of a man we learned about out at OpCamp. And then all the other students that had been at OpCamp chimed into this 5th grade classroom saying, yeah, he climbed up a tree because he was short and no one loved him. And then this OpCamper said, but Jesus did, and he went to his house. I bet Jesus loved this tax collector in this play too. And then everyone in the whole 5th grade classroom started talking about how much Jesus loves them. It was such a sweet moment. Please tell everybody that comes that their efforts matter to teach. So some of you had those 5th grade kiddos and shared the story of Zacchaeus the tax collector for the first time. And we've got another story today. It's a parable. We're doing parables this summer that Jesus taught. So we're going to get going. You may have heard of the prodigal son before, but you're going to need your Bible out. You can use your electronic Bible or your paper Bible. We're going to be in Luke 15, and I'm going to pass the mic off to Michael.
Okay, so Luke 15, beginning in verse 1. Here's what I want you to know that this parable is about. It's about inclusion, about being included. It was interesting to me, taking banquet photos, taking pre-prom photos. You begin to think about a couple of things. One is, who's not here? I mean, that was one of the things that I thought. Who's not here? And then, is there a competition for being included? So, being included in the right set of photos, being included once you get to the banquet or the prom, to be in the center, in the action. And then I wonder, even on maybe a meta level, is this competition for pride of place? Among the girls, you go, okay, who's looking good, who's got it together, whose makeup is right, whose hair is right, we got it going on, right? Or a competition among the guys and go, yeah, look at my date. Yep, I got it done. It's pretty good, right? Inclusion. Am I included? And what happens when people who are not included get included? Because I think that's what this story is about. So the first 3 verses say, now all the tax collectors and sinners were coming near to listen. I just underlined that, came near to listen. Last week we were talking about yeast, right? Yeast, how do you get yeasty? You go, you're going to have to be near, you're going to have to be, in the eating space, in the singing space, in the teaching space. You're going to have to find yourself in the path of Jesus in order to get the yeast, and then the yeast is going to rise. So the sinners and tax collectors, the outsiders, the not included, have drawn near to listen. And then the Pharisees and the scribes were grumbling and saying, this fellow welcomes sinners and eats with them. I just underlined that whole thing because I'm thinking, oh yeah, here we are back to eating. Right? Eating is one of those places where, thin spaces where you might meet the Lord. It's the one another space. It is connection space. And so what are the Pharisees and the scribes, the insiders, the people who are getting it done? What's their attitude about the tax collectors and sinners, and why? Tell me about What are they mad about? All right, breaking the rules, yeah, crossing the line.
The cultural difference.
A little cultural difference, yep. You know, I don't know who was the class clown in the 8th grade, you know, because Dawson, he's breaking the rules. He's crossing the boundaries, you know, or, I mean, it's happening, that kind of thing, right? So why are the Pharisees and scribes grumbling? What's the point of it?
Maybe they're not included.
Okay, somebody's got my space, right? You're including people who are sinners. I'm just kind of comforted by that. I'm comforted, not that they're grumbling, I'm just kind of comforted to be included. You go, okay, all right, might need that. All right, so that's the point of the whole. There's going to be Jesus is going to tell 3 stories. We're not going to inhabit but the first half of the third one. And you go, oh, thanks for calling us. So the first one that we're not going to talk about is 99 sheep and 1 lost one. I'm going to go, that economy doesn't work. You're running after 1 and leaving 99. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But when the 1 is found, there's a party. Rejoicing in heaven. Man, we found the 1 wanderer. And we're so excited. Heaven is excited because the 1 has been found. And then there's a story of a woman who's lost a coin. And I would tell you that story likely is that her dowry is incomplete. That she's lost a coin and she's likely not to get married. She's kind of nervous about it. She cleans house. She's looking for the coin. When she finds the coin, hope is restored. Her future, the path is going to be okay. Her prom dress works. She's not overdoing it. She's going to get a guy. She's going to be married. Praise the Lord. It's all going to unfold. There's rejoicing in heaven. When she throws a party. All right, you go, oh, you found 1 coin and you threw a party? You go, so again, the economy doesn't make any sense. And that leads us to the third story. We call it the prodigal son, but I wonder about that. I even think about all 3 of these stories. We say it's a lost sheep, a lost coin, and a lost boy. And I want to say, I really think it's a found sheep and a found coin and a found boy. Luke 15 should be found things. That's what we should call it. So in this story, somebody tell me the story. You've been in church most of your life. Tell me the essence of the story. What's going on here in this story?
The oldest son takes his inheritance, loses it all, and comes back to ask forgiveness of his father. The father forgives him, and they have a party.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good place to stop. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. All right. So here's this is pretty interesting. Only one correction, Elijah. It is the little kid. It's the younger boy. And you go, the younger boy wants his inheritance now. Now, I'm a little scandalized by that. Kind of like, I wish my dad was dead. Could I get my part of the inheritance now? But then, again, you know, we just came from banquet and prom, etc., and go, are you getting your parents' inheritance now?
Yes. 1 million.
The mamas are saying, yes, we're going to go to Lubbock and get a dress. We're going to go to Fort Worth, and we're going to go, you know, and we're buying shoes. And I don't know if these shoes are exactly just right or whatever, but are you getting your parents' inheritance now? And I go, yep. And you go, so sometimes we're totally oblivious to the fact that we could be this guy. Right? Because I think, you go, somebody's made a sacrifice to make this possible. I was at the country club taking a picture, and that tall girl in a red dress, and she's got her phone, and I'm trying to tell her to put her phone down, and she throws it on the floor. And I'm going, I'm glad your mom is not here. say throw it. Just don't throw it down. It's your parents' inheritance, you know. I don't know how long, you know, as a parent, probably 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, I started paying AT&T like $300 a month. I'm still, like, all these years, still paying AT&T $300 a month. I don't go, my children are no longer on the plan. How is it still $300 a month? My point is, when we look at the younger child saying, I want my inheritance now, I want to say, okay, yeah, that's a real thing. That's not a ridiculous. I mean, to wish your dad was dead so you could get, you know, what you're going to get once he's dead. Now that's crazy, but I think it's all happening now, right? So now what happens? The younger son does what? What does the younger son do? Now, I might have to underline some of this. Actually, I didn't underline anything again until verse 17. So the young boy goes, you guys tell me, what does he do?
He goes and spends all of his money.
Yeah, he goes and spends all the money.
In a distant country.
Yeah, in a distant country. He joins the military and leaves. You know? So he's not living inside the boundaries of what's polite. He's clearly out of bounds. He's clearly wrong. Then what happens to it? He's spent all the money, then what? He's got no money. Yeah?
Hungry.
Yeah, so if you, I don't know if you know this about good Jewish boys, but eating pork is not permitted. They're left out of the whole bacon thing. And I look at that and go, ooh, man. Right? So he goes, he's in a faraway country, and he is cleaning the pigsty. Anybody clean? Some of you have pigs. Sorry, Maya. Some of you have pigs. Is there a challenge in raising pigs? Maybe it's the same thing as raising a cat, right? It's just the cleanest job. Right? Right? Now, and then you go downhill from that and you go, what's my pig eating? And you say, yum, I wish I could have some of that. Could I have some of that? I'm so hungry, I could eat that. So what I underlined in verse 17 is he came to his senses. I love that. Sometimes we're slow to come to our senses. So he comes to his senses, and what's his plan? What's he going to do? Okay, he's gonna go home, and he's gonna beg for forgiveness. There's some nuance to what he does. What does he go home and say? You know, hey, your little boy's back.
No.
What does he say? He says, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy to be your son. I'm not worthy to be your child. If I could just have the servant's job. I'm glad to sweep, I'm glad to mop, I'm glad to clean the toilets, I'm glad to do the grunt work. I'm going to do all the things if I could just come home. So what happens when he's coming home and he's got that, I'm not worthy, what happens?
That turns a party.
His dad, I would tell you God, the dad in the story, you probably already knew that. The dad comes running after him and hugs him. He doesn't say, listen, didn't I tell you not to spend all that money? Aren't you ashamed? You should be totally ashamed. You were with the pigs. You were with the ne'er-do-wells, the people in society that are no good. You spent all your money, and then you discovered that they were just in it because you had stuff. He didn't say any of that. None of that is what the Father says. He doesn't say any of that. I find that to be, I don't know, scandalous, right? Pretty scandalous. How's the boy received? Because there's a couple of details here. How is the younger child received? There is a party. We're going to get to that. That's the last verse that we're going to talk about.
His dad runs to him.
He does run to him, which is like culturally scandalous. I mean, I might run a little bit. You know, I'm 66. I might run a little bit. Billy, do you run very much?
But there's another part to the story that I feel like you're
Okay.
leaving out.
Yeah, all right.
The older son.
Oh yeah, that's tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
The older son. We're gonna get to the older son.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Don't
So the dad runs. That's one thing. It is God has no shame. God's not embarrassed. Yeah. Ain't- Yeah. He's been watching. You know, if you've got campers whose lives are fractured and a mess, to know that there is a Father watching for them is unbelievable. Pretty extraordinary. And then what? He's going to kiss him.
Gave him a robe.
He's going to give him a robe. Yep, going to put the fine robe on him. Yep. And a ring. And shoes. What? I don't know if were you glad to take your shoes off when you got home? When I was just wearing boots. I was glad to take them off when I got home. You know, and shoes, just fine, remember, right? And then there's going to be a party. Remember what the story is about. We're going to talk about the older brother, but not today. But remember what the story is about. It's about inclusion, about being included. What's true is this. This is a takeaway. This is a nugget for you to have a hold of. No one is ruined unless they choose to be. No one is ruined unless they stay in the pigsty. No one is ruined. As long as you're breathing, as long as you're alive, no one is ruined. You are not too ruined for the Father to be looking for you. Praise the Lord. Man, that's so good. Every passing day is another chance to turn it all around. You can come home. That is such news. And God's not going to say, hey, I told you. It's just not how it's going to go. He's going to say, my child, you were dead, and now you're alive. Let's party. I find that to be absolutely astonishing.
There's one more key point.
Oh, you are loved, wanted, and will be welcomed if you will only come home. So here's one of the things that I want you to know. God already knows where you've been. God already knows what you've been thinking. Before a word is on your tongue, before a word is on my tongue, oh Lord, you know it completely. That's Psalm 139. God already knows. There is no secrets. He's just waiting. He's just watching. You are known and loved right where you are.
We're going to do the prodigal son in 3 parts. So if you see your lesson today on Tuesday, there's part 1, there's part 2, and then on Wednesday, the prodigal son, older son, will be in the morning. So we're going to break, this is a long parable. And I have a feeling that a lot of the kiddos that you're going to teach this summer may not know this story. So you're going to get to tell it to them for the first time. And a lot of them are going to be so encouraged to know that there is a Father that will welcome them home. But in the morning, we're going to leave them at a cliffhanger. And the cliffhanger is we're going to stop it, the story, right at where the son returns home, because we don't want them to know the father's reaction to the son returning home. So you're going to sit with them in a minute for that. And if they don't know the story, what would be the reaction to the son returning home? You know the other side of the story, but for them, how do you think they're going to feel when the story stops right there? They don't know the ending. But the afternoon, we're going to come back and we will get to talk about the Father's love, because today's all about love. And unless you feel that, oh, I'm going home, I'm a mess, I've been in the pig pen, will my Father love me? And the afternoon will be yes, he will love you. And there will be a celebration if you will come home. So that's going to be the afternoon. And the next day, which we'll cover next Sunday, we're going to talk about the older brother and how he reacts to the younger son. He doesn't have the best reaction. So I wonder, where do you find yourself in this story? Think about it for a minute. Have you been the son, the younger son, at some season of your life or today? Have you asked your parents for everything? I want this, I want this, I want this. I loved how you brought that home today. I was like, oh yes, we're all a little bit sometimes like that. Are you the father that welcomes others home, that loves them no matter what? My good friend Stephanie, she sees the best in everyone, no matter what. I love that about her. I want to be more like that, because I think that's how the Father is. He sees the good in us. He sees us on our very best day all the time. That's how he sees us. And then some of us, we're going to find out, are like the older brother, and we'll cover that next Sunday. A little judgy. We don't really want to celebrate when someone returns home because, dang it, get it together. I find myself sometimes in the older brother, probably more than I do the other two. But this story should be personal for you. So I want you to think about, where do you find yourself? And I do want to be the father for my children and for all of you, so that when you do come home, it's this. It's the embrace. There's nothing that you can do that you can't come home for. Okay? So, we try to teach, because our kids are younger, in some creative ways. So we're going to try to act the story out. So you're going to have a couple of options about how you do it. Some of you, one of the things that you will do is read the story with the kiddos in your Bible, and learning how to use your Bible's whole thing out at camp. Teaching the kids how to turn to the stories and underline verses, using their Bible for the first time ever. So if you look right here in the introductory activity, there's two choices. One is a story map, and you're like, oh, English language arts. Y'all see your story map in here? So this just helps the kids live in the story, all right? You've got 3 boxes for the morning and 3 boxes for the afternoon. So Elijah did a pretty good job of the story summary. So if you were to draw something in box 1 of the story, somebody shout out what you and your camper might draw together. Or just say it and then I'll say it back. Okay. Maya says her and her camper would draw the younger son asking for his inheritance. Okay? Maybe your kid likes to write and not draw. They can write out the story. We're just trying to help them understand the story and live in it. What might be box number 2 if the younger son has asked for his inheritance? What comes next? The party, right? He's living it out. He runs out of money. He's in the pig pen here. And then what does he decide to do in box number 3? Go home. All right, so that's the morning. You're going to need to leave room for the afternoon because you're going to finish the story in the afternoon. Your kid may hate drawing, they may hate writing, and that's okay. We've given them another option. They can do it in drama form. So have a lot of fun with this. Like, get up and act it out. Get them to beg coming home. Get the father running coming home. You can sit there and read it back and forth, but if you'll have fun with it, your kid will have fun with it as well. So that's another option. And you're going to do both of those activities in the morning and the afternoon, just to help retell the story. All right. There's always questions to go through. So you're working through the questions as you go through the parable. And then if you'll turn over to the second day activities, or the afternoon activities. How many of you were at camp this summer? We prepared pig slop. Does anyone remember walking into the Songfest room? We tried to make the aroma of the smell of pig slop as the campers came in, because we wanted them to, we didn't know how he was going to return home to the Father. So as they were walking in Songfest, we had prepared this nasty aroma. Some of you remember it, right? We'll see if we do that for fun this summer. And maybe we need to bring your pig out to camp. Who all has pigs in here? Who raises pigs?
He's packaged up in a freezer.
Maya's the only one? Do you raise pigs too? We may need a pig this summer to bring out to camp. But for fun, what happens at the very end before the older brother steps in? What do they have? They have a party, right? So you will have a bag of goodies. We're going to have, what does it say he put on his hand? A ring. So everybody's getting a ring pop today and out of camp. And the other thing we're going to do is make sashes. Now, boys normally like to put them on their head. Girls like to be Miss America. We have a group from Cincinnati, Ohio, and they're sewing real sashes for you guys, or head ties for the boys. So you're going to have real ones this summer made out of material that hopefully will last, because what we want you to be thinking of is how the son feels once he is welcomed home. So y'all give me some words that we could write on our sash. Relieved. Ooh, that's a good one. Did I spell that right? I before E? Relieved. Reunited. I like that. How did the younger son feel when he was welcomed home? Redeemed. Y'all are doing great with the R words this morning. R-E. Surprise. Why was he surprised, Tank? It was unexpected. He didn't get what he deserved, did he? What else? What other words can y'all come up with?
Welcome.
Welcomed. Hopefully this one comes up because it's the theme of the day. Loved. He was able to rejoice. Going with the R-E theme.
Forgiven.
Forgiven.
Oh, that one.
So those are all words that you're going to add on the sash, because we want them to feel love. Help them understand these words. You'll write them. Make a sash today. This is just practice for fun. Okay, you've got some words up there if you want to. We do have a few younger kids that we're going to pair you guys up with here in a minute, but most of you will just be teaching each other. And that may seem silly for you to teach someone that's your age, but do it anyways. Go ahead and walk through the lesson, ask the questions. Hopefully you're with somebody that's been at camp before, so ask them questions of what it's like or what questions you might have.
A man had 2 sons. The younger son told his father,
Excuse me?
I want my share of your estate now, before you die.
Okay.
So his father agreed and gave his son his inheritance.
Woohoo!
A few days later, this younger son packed all his belongings
See ya.
and moved to a distant land. And there he wasted all his money in wild living.
Huh?
About the time his money ran out, a great famine swept over the land,
Aw, man.
and he began to starve.
Hey, you!
He convinced a local farmer to hire him,
Thank you.
and the man sent him into his fields to feed the pigs. The young man became so hungry that even the food he was feeding the pigs looked good to him. But no one gave him anything. Finally, he said to himself, "At home, even the servants have food enough to spare, and here I'm dying of hunger.
I know.
I will go home to my father and apologize and ask him to take me on as a servant." So he returned home to his father.
I'm going to ask one of these kiddos, were y'all watching carefully? Okay. He's going home to the father. He's wasted all the father's money. How does he feel? Sorry? He's sorry. How do you think the father is going to accept him? Don't know? I mean, that's kind of, if you don't know the story. Well, can't answer. You know the end of the story. You know the end of the story? How's he gonna feel? How is the younger son gonna be accepted by his father?
He's gonna bow down to him and say, "I'm sorry."
Okay. He might say sorry. Do y'all think the father, that's what you're gonna ask your camper, do you think the father really could forgive him? Would the father still love him even though he's made a mess? And then we're gonna come back to the afternoon.
So he returned home to his father. And while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. Filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son.
Son!
His son said to him, "Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy of being called your son." But his father said to the servants, "Quick, bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. Get a ring for his finger and sandals for his feet, and kill the calf we have been fattening. We must celebrate with a feast, for this son of mine was dead and now has returned to life. He was lost, but now he is found." So the party began.